Welcome, beautiful souls, to another episode of the Spiritual Catalyst podcast where we talk about all things weird and woo. I am your host, Sarah Lyons, the founder of newearthschool.com.au, and today we have the beautiful Andrea Korin with us to talk about Galactic Block of the Akashic Records. This is so much fun. Andrea Korin is your trusted guide on a transformative journey towards self-discovery and empowerment. She is the go-to person who specializes in helping individuals illuminate their shadows, activate their true selves, and live a life filled with purpose and authenticity. In her own words, Andrea says, "I will show you how to work and take advantage of your own multidimensionality so you can live in optimal bliss and flow." How beautiful is that? Andrea, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Awesome. Beautiful. And thank you for coming on to talk to us about Galactic Blocks of the Akashic Records. I want to know, and I know the listeners want to know, what does that statement mean for us?
So what it means, that let's start like with the basics. I know that many people are familiar with the Akashic Records, which is pretty much the whole collection of all lives and experiences for everybody here on planet Earth, for humans. So there is a different section in the Akashic Records, which is the Galactic Block. And the Galactic Block contains all of the experiences and lifetimes of beings that are not human. So all different kinds of races, galactic races, and, cosmic beings, and, their origins and everything that has happened. So just like we have a record for our human life, we also have a record for all of our past lives that have not been in human form. So that is the part of the Akashic Records that is contained within the Galactic Block.
That is so cool. And as you were explaining that, I just realized, hey, I've been connecting in with my Galactic Records for years now, not realizing it.
Right?
Now we've got a name for this, and that's really cool. And I'd love to hear about, in your perspective, what are you specifically speaking to when we're talking about galactic blocks?
So it's just a name for the section. So it could be called, the Galactic Hall, if you want, or the Galactic Library, but we call it the Galactic Block. It's the space in the Akashic records that just contains all of your galactic lives. So if you are, I know that there's many people that are awakening to the realization that they are starseeds, and that they might have originated in another planet, in another dimension, and they have very, very strong traits of whatever race they were living a life as before. So all of those records from those lives are contained within this galactic section of the Akashic Records.
Cool, got you. So these are galactic sections in the Akashic Records that show us all of our lifetimes as all kinds of beings.
That is correct.
That is so cool. I'd love to hear, is there a common theme that you see sort of play out in these galactic sessions when you are working with your clients?
Yeah, the most common thing, or the commonality, I will say, is because there's a huge part of the planet that is awakening now, and we are remembering or seeing things or perceiving things that we haven't even thought about before. The most common thing that I notice is that our purpose here on Earth has a lot to do with whatever we have lived and experienced before when we were not human. So our origins are coded within us and are being brought to help our life here on planet Earth.
100%. And that's what I find with working with women, even though I work with them in more of a spiritual business capacity. It's all connected, it's all relevant. Let's hear an example. So for me, I know, my divine aspect is Honey Owl, who actually sees the higher perspective of things, different timelines, and all of those things. And that makes sense to me because that's what I see for my clients. What about you? What lineages have you found yourself come from, and how is that playing out in your business today?
Yeah, so going back a little bit, because I just want to give people like an overview of how I ended up,
Yeah, please.
working with the Galactic Block, right? Like, how did this happen for me? So a few years ago, I'm very woo, I'm very spiritual, and I see one of the first things that I got to see when my clairvoyance opened was spirit animals. So different sort of energies, it started with spirit animals, and then angels, and then, dragons and other elemental beings. And, there's always like something else. But I was very close to spirit animals and angels. One day I was, connecting to the other side and, doing what I do and kind of like channeling. And I was expecting an angel to show up. And instead of an angel, I have these galactic beings showed up. And it truly like scared me. Like I was so scared. I was like, kind of like, oh my gosh, what is this? Because I was not expecting it at all. And my first reaction was to be scared. My second reaction was like, okay, if he's here, it's because he wants to communicate something. I didn't get to ask him anything, but I was like, okay, I guess that now I am connected to another realm. So fast forward a little bit, and I was doing like a session, about how to heal certain things for my business to propel and some blocks that I had. So I had a visit to the Akashic Records with another practitioner. I was not guiding the section. I had never been to the Akashic Records before. That was not my cup of tea. But I was like, okay, let's go to the Akashic Records and let's find out where did this originated, this block that I'm having. And I had kind of like, I would say maybe an unusual experience for the first time that I was visiting the records. We were working on a past life, and I had a witch wound. For the people that knows what that is, that's very common for women to have that witch wound. And all of a sudden, I was taken out of there, and I found myself not on planet Earth, which was very weird because I was not expecting that. I'm having a session about business blocks in a way, belief system, and the witch wound, and all of a sudden I was like taken immediately like to another planet. And I remember being like, okay, I was like, I'm not on Earth. Like I'm being shown my origins, and I'm not on planet Earth. So I was being shown, where I truly came from, where I originated. And I recognize myself as an Andromedan starseed here on planet Earth on this lifetime. So, I was shown a couple of things, and then the session closed. I came back. I had that session, and it was fantastic. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think anything of it. A couple of weeks later, once again, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm working with somebody, and then, as many practitioners of different modalities, we work on ourselves because that help us, help people better. And this being showed up. I didn't know what it was, who it was. It wasn't human. It did not look like any aliens, let's say, that when we think about, galactic races, it didn't look anything like that. it kind of looked in the body like humanoid, but the head was like a triangular shape, no eyes. It was very, very different from anything that I have seen. And we were in a hallway, and it looked very ancient. It looked like almost like Roman columns, or when you see pictures of the pyramids, and when you go down on the pyramid and you have these like extensive hallways, and it's just kind of like stone on the sides, and there's like fire illuminating the way, which I thought, but yet at the end of the hall, I could feel that we were almost in space. And once again, it was just like a brief thing. And I was like, what was this? Like, I don't know what I'm seeing. Well, when you're ready to get the message, you get it. Now I know that this being is one of the keepers of the Galactic Block.
Beautiful.
So I was just being shown that I could get there. And that's how it started. Now, I'm very much attuned. I can work with the Earth records, of course, of the Akashic Records. But more than likely, I'm always kind of like taken to the galactic, to the cosmic side of things now.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Gorgeous.
So many times, in this path, we don't know at first what we are experiencing, but many times, and that has been my experience with a lot of things. It was like, oh, what was that? Especially because I'm not maybe familiar, or at the time I wasn't familiar with what I was being shown. So it was a huge surprise. It was something I wasn't expecting, but now I know that I do have a mission to relay this information to people and to take people there on this journey and find out a lot of things about their origins and how the technologies that other races have can actually help us here on planet Earth.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So when a client comes to you to, illuminate those shadows and activate their true self, what happens? Do you take them on the journey? Do you do the reading for them? How does that process go?
The first time, more than likely, I will do the reading for them unless we have worked together, and I work with a lot of people that works in the spiritual woo-woo side of things, so they have another understanding, let's say, or a more advanced understanding of somebody that has never experienced what it is, to go into a deep state. So it really depends on the client and what they are looking for. Let's say that I'm always prone to do what is best for the client, to find the information they want and to get maybe the healing or the results that they are looking for to get in the section. So I work in a very intuitive way. Sometimes, it's best, unless they are supercharged and we have, had a conversation already before, or they have been following me and they know, it is best if I go and, I go for them.
Yes.
So I can bring out all the information and the healing and do everything. Now, there has been people who are a little bit more advanced that would like to experience going there on their own. And I'm more than happy, to guide them to get there, because the way that we read the records, is very different, or the way that I receive the information is very different than when I receive information from the Akash for our human life or past lives.
That's interesting. Tell me, what's the main differential there between the earthly records and the galactic records?
So the main difference for me is there's no spoken word in the Galactic Record. Because if there's spoken word per se, it's like language. It's not really, we're not speaking English or Spanish or Italian over there, because that's not their language. And many of these galactic races, they don't even use the spoken word. They communicate through telepathy. So there's no spoken word. That's the main thing. You have to be very open to this telepathic exchange. You have to be very open to actually feel things and maybe see things that you have never seen before. Sometimes it looks a lot like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe what's going on, so you do have to have a sense of not only what you're looking at, what you're seeing, and what you're receiving, but also have the interpretation of what that means. It feels almost like an immersion of all sorts of things that are just like kind of like downloading to you.
100%. And that's what I was going to say. What I have found is the energy moves so quickly, and that telepathic guidance comes through so quickly. It's almost like this, it's just, there's no backwards and forwards. It's just like these instant knowings, like reverberating so quickly.
Yeah, it comes so quickly, at first, maybe for somebody that hasn't experienced it, maybe the biggest delay, I will say, is to connect to it, because it's a new experience, it's a different sort of vibe, it's a different sort of frequency. So, you have to be, as I'm saying, you have to be very open for what's going to come. But once you connect, it's like a speed race. Like, it's so quick and intense, and it's like one thing after the other, and you're trying to grasp it all. And at the same time, it's like you need to have the sense, to communicate and to bring what the person really needs.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So for those listeners that would love to experience this energy, but they would like someone to do it for them, obviously we know you're the go-to woman for this, and even for those advanced women who just need someone to maybe just guide the process, how can they get in touch with you, Andrea?
I would say almost in any social media platform, they can find me under I am Andrea Korin.
Beautiful.
So I am my full name, and my website is andreakorin.com. So pretty much is my name, and you can pick me up. Don't be shy, DM me. It's, I'm always happy and open to listen and see if I can help you. And it's an amazing experience, really. It's something completely different, but it will bring you so much clarity and so much healing and so much purpose that you can bring here to whatever work you're doing. It's really fascinating.
It is, and I'll just add it really does, collapse those timelines or expand time, however you want to describe it. It accelerates things, doesn't it? So quickly. It's amazing. I love it. Andrea, thank you so much for coming on to speak to us about this today. The world is ready for this new wave. And I'm going to make sure I pop your links in the episode details so that we can easily find you. And thank you, listeners, for staying with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a review and following us for more Spiritual Catalyst episodes. Bye.
Thank you so much.